Wait a minute. Ah. Ow! Yo, it's me. It's me. It's the STOTT baby here with another review in the KEANUVERSE series of reviews. And now is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. This came out in 1991 or 1992, depending on which source you look from. I'm sure it was 91. And this one is a little different. Like, way different than the first one. If you were expecting another time travel thing, a little bit. Not really. It starts out in the future, and a man named Dinamelos has created evil robot versions of Bill and Ted. He's going to send them back in time to make sure that wild stallions never become a thing, and he can take over, and he'll be the new future. What a shithead. That's in the movie. The problem is, the evil Bill and Ted are very similar to the other Bill and Ted, except for they're evil. So, at this point in Bill and Ted's life, they are convinced... Oh, I should tell you, the start of the movie has Dynamo showing up, and the evil robot Bill and Ted's going back in time, but Rufus uses a guitar to latch himself to the time machine, the phone booth, and they believe that they lost him in the circuits of time, dude. And so at this point in time, though, Bill and Ted are trying to get a knack for, being a rock band, even though the princesses do pretty good, the guys still suck. And Miss Wardrow says that they keep saying they're going to be great, but they just aren't. They don't understand it either. The guys don't understand it either. And she goes, oh, because you work with Pretzels and Cheese, I'm going to give you a shot. But last midnight at the Battle of the Bands, people would have gone home by then, but they'll take any shot they can get, right? So, after this, they go to the birthday party for the princesses. I just thought of something. They have the same birthday, or did they just designate, like, the day they came to the present time as their birthdays? Because it's kind of weird they had the same birthday. Are they twins? Did they ever step? They don't look like twins. Are they twins? I don't know. But anyway, so they're at the birthday party, and at the birthday party, the guys, Bill and Ted propose to the princesses. And, this is where there's logic problems. I mean, it's Bill and Ted, they're not the smartest, but, Bill does ask the question, but, the evil robot usses decide to call them 1 minute after the princesses leave the guy's apartment. They drive off, the phone rings, it's evil robot Bill pretending to be Joanna, and she breaks up with he pretends to be Joanna to break up with the guys, Bill and Ted. So, nowadays it wouldn't be as far stretch for someone to call a minute after they leave because we got cell phones. But back in 1991, it wasn't really the case. They had those big old things like in Saved by the Bell, but they weren't I don't think you could, call from everywhere. But even he's like, hey, Joanna, how'd you call us so fast? And then she just passed up. Oh, that's not important. What is we're leaving wild stallions. It's like, And they believe it. I'm like, even as a kid, I'm like, you're stupid. But it moves the plot forward, and Bill and Ted are getting drunk, I think. They're drinking beer or soda, I can never tell. Possibly beer. I don't know. But the evil robot usses show up. Why am I calling them the evil robot usses? Because that's what they call them. They show up, and Bill and Ted believe them to be the future versions of themselves, like they saw in the first one, which I forgot to mention. They see future versions of themselves, and then they do it over again. So I forgot to mention that in my review for the first one, but there you go. So they believe them to be, and here's an interesting thing. In the first one, they, if you're really us, what number are we thinking of? And they say, 69, dude. But originally, and I read this, I don't know if it's true, but originally it was supposed to be, he was supposed to have how many fingers are behind me, and they say 3. Well, they use it in this one, 3. That's a stupid way to, I don't know, that's stupid. But we're going to keep going. So Bill and Ted, because Joanna and Elizabeth said they're going out to the desert to be alone. So they take them to the desert, which is like the same place they see this episode of Star Trek was at. And Bill and Ted, the evil robot usses throw Bill and Ted off a cliff, and they kill them. Yeah, I totally loogied on that good dead me. Sorry, I always like that part. And so here is where there's sort of a problem. Now, they didn't know what was going to happen later in the movie. I'll get to that. Spoilers, of course. But they leave the Wild Stallions van there, and they steal someone's Porsche. What happens to the person driving the Porsche? I don't know. How they catch up to the Porsche? I don't know. They're robots, so probably they're faster than the average bear. No. Faster than the average person, I guess. But the next time we see at the house, they got the Porsche there. It's all dirty. But Bill and Ted come to, and they're ghosts. And they're visited by the Grim Reaper, or Death, played by William Sadler, brilliantly by William Sadler. William Sadler's performance as Death is like the greatest Grim Reaper performance I've ever seen, and I'm so happy he's coming back for Bill and Ted Face the Music. Because that was one of my things. Because I was reading, and they said that the script that they had at the moment, at that particular moment, didn't include the Reaper, but they wanted to include him in. Wanted to try to include him in. And I'm glad they were able to. So, where was I? The Grim Reaper, he shows up, he goes, you challenge me to a contest, and if you lose, you remain in the afterlife forever. What if we win? No one has ever won. And so they're like, dude, we gotta get out of here and save the babes. How can Ted? We're dead, dude. We gotta stop those evil usses. We gotta try. But how? Melvin. So they give, basically, I think it's a wedgie, but they call it Melvin, which is pretty cool. Dude, excuse us, Death. Your shoes are untied. Oh. And like so the next scene is them walking back to the house, and they don't want to get caught by Death again. But so they go back, they find the evil robot ushers are destroying the place, and they're trying to not force, but they're yelling at the princesses to put out, as they say, and they say no, and like they, man, it's been a while. Like, they say they're gonna quit, and they're like, fine. And they're like, well, that's that. And so they throw the engagement rings, which were like, I think they were Cracker Jack rings that they gave them as engagement rings. They throw them back. And then they're like, I got an idea. At the Battle of the Bands, after you make the nominal speech, let's hang him. So, Bill and Ted decide they're going to try other ways to save the babes. So they go to the police station and they try to do the Exorcist 1 and 3. And so Ted jumps into his dad's body. I totally possessed my dad. And then Bill possesses the lieutenant. I think he's a lieutenant. Or sergeant. Sergeant. I think it's a sergeant. And they're like, whoa, donuts. And then, like, no, they tried to tell him. And none of the cops believe him. So they go to leave. And they're like, wait, we can't go like this. So, and they jump out. And then, they go and they decide to try Missy, or Mom. There's another thing I forgot to mention in the first one. I'm sorry. There is a character that they went to school with. Her name was Missy. She was a senior when they were freshmen. And Bill's dad married her. And then by the second film, she's married to Ted's dad. But Bill still calls her Mom. Hey, Missy. Mom. And I'm like, why do you need to call her that? She's not your mom anymore. She's not married to your dad. She's married to Ted's dad. And Ted still calls her Missy. But it's a running joke. Keep it going, you know what I mean? Forgot to mention that in the first one. I was kind of going, what happens when you do these, like, on the spot, seat of your pants type reviews. Because I can't edit or anything. I don't have any software like that. So I just do them straight to the camera, you know what I mean? So, where was I now? After they get, they go to Missy, Mom, because she's doing the seance. So they go in and they try to convince them, but she believes them to be ghosts from hell. And she sends them to hell. And actually, the original name for this movie was called Bill and Ted Go to Hell. But they changed it. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. So they go to hell. They meet the devil, and then they end up going into their own. Man, I forgot it's another plot point that goes with this. Remember, I said in the first one that my review for the first one, Ted's dad was dead set on Ted going to military academy, and he says he can still send him to military academy. We actually meet Colonel Oates in this one, and he's like, for the both of you, for all four of you, like all four, like Bill, Ted, and the princesses. And so they go to hell, and they go in the first door together, and it's Colonel Oates, and he has them do infinity push-ups, and they're like, I can't do infinity push-ups, so they run, and they decide to separate and go on different ones. And I think that's actually worse, because Ted goes to a memory where he stole his brother Deacon's Easter basket, and this weird, crazy animatronic Easter bunny is chasing after them. And then Bill goes to his Granny S. Preston Esquire's birthday party where she wants to kiss right on the lips. And here's an interesting fact. Granny S. Preston Esquire is actually played by Alex Winter, who plays Bill. And I didn't realize that growing up until I was like, I want to say middle school age. Maybe 5th grade, I realized that. That's about the time I realized that Dick Van Dyke played Mr. Dawes Sr. in Mary Poppins, because, like I said, everything was recorded on a tape. And, like, it cut off the end of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and Mary Poppins cut off just as the words were mixing up. So I thought Navid Cade was the name of the guy who played Mr. Dawes Sr. for, like, years until I got the DVD. So, it's about that time. So they leave, and I think we're in our own personal hell, and all three of them are chasing. And actually, there was supposed to be a climax. In the climax, and we'll get to that actually. But like we gotta play the Reaper, and so the Reaper Death shows up, and they play them. It's like what's the name of the movie? The Seventh Seal, I think, is where they're kind of parodying that, and they play all these modern games like Foos Football, whatever it is, the electronic football thing, Twister, Risk, I think, Battleship, maybe not Risk, but Battleship, and Clue. I believe it was Colonel Mustard in the study with the candlestick. Wrong, dude. It was Professor Plum. I said Plum. No way, you said Mustard. Best 3 out of 5. What? Best of 7. Damn right. And so afterwards, they have beaten Death. So Death will take him where they want. So they need to find someone to help build good robot us's. So that he takes them to heaven, where they see like Albert Einstein, and they meet Station, which is see, that's the thing. It foreshadows that they're going to win anyway, because everyone in the future was saying Station. So that's obviously even the robots said Station. So it was obviously foreshadowing that they were going to succeed all along. So they get Station, which is 2 little Martian dudes, played by Ed Gale, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Little Stations. And Frank Welker, I think, did the voices for the Stations. I think. And so they get back to Earth. They find that a woodpecker must have been gnawing on Ted's head, and there's a worm in Bill's ear. Dinner's over, worm dude, and Death falls. And so they get in the van and they go to a supply warehouse, whatever it's called, and they get all the supplies to build good robot houses. And then they get in the van, but they're they get in the van. They call the evil robot houses at Missy's house, where they have come and they knock Mom out cold by going evil morning breath or whatever, and then they kidnap the babes, and then they call just in that. There's actually a scene where they go, who are you? Well, you see, and they lift up the shirt and they do the thing, and actually there was actually a deleted scene which you could sort of see in the background where they unzip or whatever, and they reveal that Evil Bill was actually Evil Ted, and Evil Ted was Evil Bill, and then except for in this version they just show the robot stuff. But if you pay attention in the scene when the phone rings, you could see the Bill and Ted suits in the piled up in the corner. So they must have filmed it or something, because they got that in there, and they must not have liked that. So they're on the phone with the evil robot us's, and like, they're back from the dead. Guess we're gonna have to kill them again. And then, like, they're arguing back and forth, and they're like, good luck getting to the concert, losers. And nothing really comes of that, but there's actually deleted scenes, which they weren't filmed, but there's like, storyboards stuff, where they were actually supposed to bring out the Colonel Oates, the Bunny, and Grandma S. Preston, monsterized versions of them to chase Bill and Ted to the concert. And they never filmed that. They said not to do it. So when they say, good luck getting to the concert, losers, and nothing happens, people, you think, okay, why'd they say that? They kept the line in, but they deleted the scene. That's all I can say. So then they do this montage of putting together the Good Robot Us's to a kick-ass song by Winger called Battle Stations, which I really want to sing right now, but I don't want to get a copyright strike, even though it's not them singing it. I just don't want to. But yeah, kick-ass song that plays while they're doing it. But here's the thing: there's another deleted scene that sometimes plays in the televised version, where Death goes up to sit in the passenger seat next to Bill, and Bill offers some gum, and he puts the whole thing in his mouth, wrapper and all, spits it out, and says, "I don't like gum," or "I hate gum," or something like that. "I don't like gum," or something like that. I guess I put that in some televised versions. I wish they would put that in the actual film on Blu-ray or DVD. I have a DVD, obviously. I want to get the whole set. Just haven't. Maybe I'll put money down on it soon or something. But so they get to the concert. They're ready to hang the babes or whatever, and they're like, "We're wild stallions," and then the real Bill and Ted show, "No, dude, we're wild stallions." And you're like, it's weird. And so they use the good robot us's. They blow the heads off the evil robot us's. They fly up, and then what was all that about? The Nomalos shows up, and he's like, he's going to shoot them. He has a gun. They're like, a sandbag, and the sandbag drops because they're gonna put a sandbag up. Go back, put the sandbag, and a cage comes down, and he's like, "I have a key. After I defeated you, I will come back and I will hide the key." And another gun, and that just like comes out of nowhere. And then he goes to fire it, and it says "Wild Stallions rule." And they're like, "You forgot one thing, dude. Only the winners are gonna be able to come back and change things. We set up the key, we set up the gun." And then Death comes up and goes, "Excuse me, but your shoelaces aren't tight." Huh? Oh. Melvin. Oh, I also forgot there's a part where they're in heaven. They go to see God. They mug these three wise people, and Death pretends to be a woman, and they're like, "What is the meaning of life?" And they're like, "Every rose has its thorn, just like every night has its dawn, just as every cowboy sings a sad, sad song." And they nudge Death. "Every rose has its thorn." "Do I know you?" "No." And then like they come up, as you might have guessed, we're not the three. They go to God, and he's like, "We're not the three wise people you were hoping for. I'm Bill S. Preston. I'm Ted Theodore Logan. Together we are wild stallions." First of all, the lovely lady here is the Grim Reaper. First of all, what a good job you've done on Earth. Bill and I enjoy it on a daily basis, as well as your other planets, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus. And then as leaving the station, they leave, and Death goes, one of my favorite lines, "They melvant me." I'm sorry, I forgot to put that in there. So after they defeat the Nomalos, Ted's dad takes them to prison. Death with another great line, "Book 'em, Dano." And then they decide to use the booth to time travel, and they come back, and they're future versions of themselves, like 8 months of guitar lessons and like the medieval honeymoon, and they have children, Little Bill and Little Ted, which has been retconned as their girls. What they're called, Billy and Thea, I think is what they're called. Gotta get the females out there, which is okay, why not? As long as you don't have too much time, we gotta focus the movie on Bill and Ted now. That's what it's called, Bill and Ted. And as long as they're not trying to spin off those two, I don't want that. But nothing against it, I just don't want it. There's another thing I forgot to mention. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place on this. Before they time traveled, they asked who that was, and Miss Rhodes was like, "We perhaps I can help." She starts to strip. They're like, "Yeah, take it off, baby," and it's Rufus. He's been in disguise since the very beginning, and he tells them that was their old gym teacher and sit-up champion of the 23rd century. Sit-up champion of the 23rd century. And so they did the time travel, and they come back, and they're like, "We've been all We've been to the past. We've been to the future. We've been all around the afterlife. Ted, the best place to be is here. The best time to be is now. And all we could say is, let's rock. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And they start playing, and it's this killer riff, like something like that. And it goes into God Gave Rock and Roll to You by Kiss. And I like the whole end credits thing that they do with them, and that, you know, solidifies that they're going to be this big thing. You know, I think that's kind of retconned by the new movie. They have to write, like, the song that will save the universe or something. I think it's kind of retconned by that, but, you know, it works. But one more thing that I have to say, I forgot. They introduced members of the band, you know, them, the Babes, and then they introduce, you know, they didn't introduce them, but they introduce the you know, station, and then the backup dancers with all the good robot us's, and then they introduce the Duke of Spook, the Doc of Shock, say hello to Death himself, the Grim Reaper. You might be a king or a real street sweeper, but sooner or later you dance with the Reaper. Get down with your bad self. I love show business. I love that line. I even had it as a ringtone once upon a time ago. But yeah, so that's Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I'm gonna take this off now. Ow! Take it off now. That's Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, and it's a good movie, but it's not quite for 10 for 10 like the first. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It's still good. I still love it. It's one of the better sequels out there, to be honest with you. So 9 out of 10. So what do you guys think about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey? Remember to let me know in the comments. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Scotty Boy rules, and catch you later, dudes.